Miffy visits Africa. Miffy and Melanie were on an aeroplane with Mother Bunny, travelling to Africa. They were visiting Melanie's relatives for a holiday. The flight attendant brought some gifts. Would you like some bracelets? Oh, yes, they would. They're beautiful, Miffy exclaimed. You can wear these bracelets to show your friendship, the flight attendant added. Miffy and Melanie thanked her and said, "We will always be friends." Now the plane was ready to land. They made sure their seatbelts were fastened tight. They were almost there. Melanie's aunt and uncle were preparing a welcome dinner when they arrived in the village. Everyone was very glad to see them. "We haven't seen you since you were a little baby," said her aunt as she hugged Melanie. This made everyone laugh. "And this is your cousin," said Melanie's uncle. "Hello. My name is Manu. Would you like to see our house?" Manu had something that she wanted to show them. "These are my drums," said Manu proudly. "I want to be a famous drummer when I grow up." Then Manu showed them how she could play. Melanie started moving to the beat of the drums. The faster Manu played, the faster Melanie danced. Melanie invited Miffy to dance too. But Miffy felt shy. She'd never done that kind of dancing before. Then Auntie called out, "Time for bed!" They were tired. It had been a long trip. "Tomorrow we're going to do something special," said Manu. "It's a secret." And then she couldn't help herself. "We're going on a safari." Everyone laughed. Manu wasn't very good at keeping secrets. Early the next morning, just as the sun was waking up, they all helped Melanie's uncle load the truck. Manu carried the water, because later in the day it would be very hot. Miffy carried visors, because the African sun gets so bright. And Melanie carried binoculars, because they wanted to get a good look at any wild animals they might see on the safari. Soon they were ready to leave. Melanie's auntie and Mother Bunny waved goodbye, and off they went. They drove through wide open landscape. As the sun rose, it got brighter and brighter. That's why they had put on their visors. Then it started to get hot. "We'll stop here, under the shade of that tree," said Manu's father. "See the water," Manu whispered. "That's where the animals come to get a drink." Miffy looked through the binoculars. "Look, a zebra!" Miffy shouted. "And a baby one too!" And I see giraffes. Shh, whispered Manu. You'll frighten them. Miffy's visor kept slipping down over her eyes. Finally, she took it off and placed it on the seat beside her. It felt cool under the shade of the tree. Next, they saw something moving in the water. It's a hippo. They love swimming in the cool water, said Manu. They even saw a lion taking a nap. Shh, whispered Manu. We'd better not wake him up. Miffy and Melanie had never seen anything like it. At home, they'd been to the zoo. But in Africa, the animals lived on the open land, in nature. Look, a monkey, Manu cried. Manu was right. A monkey was peeking out at the safari truck, and the monkey was wearing a visor. Miffy looked at the seat where she had left her visor, and it was gone. That monkey is wearing my visor. The monkey must have snuck up on the truck and taken Miffy's visor. Don't worry, Miffy, said Manu's father. You can wear mine. But now we have to go back before it gets too hot. They all waved goodbye to the animals. That evening, they met one of Manu's friends. He was a good drummer too. Manu joined in, and the two of them made up their own rhythm. A big moon rose in the sky. Stars twinkled like diamonds. Manu gave Miffy and Melanie their own drums. Miffy had never played the drums before, but with encouragement from the others, Miffy started playing too. At first, she played the drums slowly and carefully, but soon she liked it. 4 friends making music. It was like they were talking to each other. Everyone danced to the drumming. Auntie loved to dance. Even Mother Bunny joined in. It turned out that there was only one thing that Manu liked to do as much as drumming, and that was dancing. She might have been one of the youngest, but Manu was also one of the best dancers. This time, Miffy didn't feel as shy. They danced and danced and danced. Eventually, everyone was so tired they couldn't dance anymore. Manu had one more surprise for Miffy and Melanie. These drums are for you. Miffy and Melanie each took off one of their bracelets they had been given on the aeroplane and held them out to Manu. We wear these bracelets to show our friendship. And since you're our new friend, we'd like you to have them. For once, Manu didn't know what to say. She was so excited that she put the bracelets on and didn't take them off for a long, long time. There's a good chance that Manu is still wearing those bracelets. After all, friendship can last forever. On the plane going home, Miffy and Melanie looked at their drums and knew that every time they played them, they'd think about Manu. Miffy visits the North Pole. Miffy, Boris, Barbara and Snuffy were on a boat, heading for the North Pole. Snuffy was too excited to sit still and kept running from one end of the boat to the other. We're almost there, Boris called out. Hooray! Boris and Barbara had family who lived at the North Pole, and Miffy and Snuffy were going with them for a visit. Boris let Miffy look through his telescope. She couldn't believe how much snow and ice there was. It snows at home, said Miffy, but I think it snows much more on the North Pole. Miffy laughed. Oh, Snuffy, I know. We're nearly there. Boris sailed carefully past icebergs, and the boat quietly floated into the dock. While Boris tied the boat up, Barbara watched as Miffy took her first steps on the North Pole. Or tried to. The ground was covered with ice and snow, and it was very hard to keep her balance. But Snuffy didn't seem to mind the ice. She ran past Miffy, slipping and sliding. Snuffy, Miffy called out. Wait for me. Miffy slowly got used to walking on the ice. She looked around everywhere for any sign of Snuffy, but there was no sign of her anywhere. She looked in one direction, and then in the other direction. It was white as far as she could see. Miffy shivered. It gets cold at home, she said, but never this cold. There you are, said Miffy. And you found a new friend, she laughed. Then a head popped up over the top of another snow hill. Hello, said Miffy. My name is Umik, said the boy. And that's my dog, Husky. Miffy and Umik laughed. I'm Boris and Barbara's cousin. And I'm Miffy. Come on, said Umik. I'll show you around. Have fun, Miffy, called Barbara. See you later. They had a lot of fun playing in the snow. And so did Snuffy and Husky. Miffy and Umik made a beautiful snowman. Finally, they stopped by the water's edge. This is my sledge, said Umik. Do you like it? Miffy nodded. Suddenly, she spotted something out in the sea. "Is that an iceberg?" she asked. "That's just the very top of the iceberg. Most of it's underwater," explained Umik. Then a spout of water suddenly rose up out of the sea. "Oh, did you see that?" cried Miffy. "That's a whale," said Umik. "A whale's nose is on the top of his head, so when he breathes out, the air goes straight up in the air. And look, a baby whale too." Looking out at the baby whale and her mother, Umik suddenly remembered he was supposed to be home already. "My mother doesn't like me to be late. Hop in, Miffy." Husky pulled them across the snow-covered ground in Umik's sledge, and Snuffy happily ran beside them. Umik's mother was waiting for them, with Boris and Barbara, and everyone was happy to see each other. "We shake hands at home. It's a funny feeling to rub noses instead," said Miffy. "But I like it." Miffy looked at Umik's house. "Is it made of ice?" she asked, surprised. "Of course, it's an igloo," said Umik proudly. "Come inside, where it's nice and warm." "Warm?" thought Miffy. "How could it be nice and warm inside a house made of ice?" But it was warm inside the igloo. They had brought a present, and Miffy gave it to Umik's mother. It was a beautiful potted yellow flower. "Yellow is my favourite colour. You've brought the sunshine with you." And she thanked and hugged Miffy. "At home, we plant these flowers in our garden," said Miffy. "I can do it for you." Miffy and Umik tried to dig a hole. They tried using their hands, but the icy ground was too hard. They tried using a shovel, but that didn't work either. Even Snuffy couldn't dig a hole in the North Pole's icy ground. When Umik's mother called them inside for hot cocoa, they took the flower in with them. As the sun was going down, it started to snow. Inside, it was warm and cosy. Everyone sipped their hot cocoa and enjoyed how good it tasted. Miffy looked at the yellow flower and thought about her garden back home. She saw Umik's crayons and got an idea. "If we can't plant flowers outside, maybe we can plant them inside." Soon they were all making beautiful drawings. Umik's mother coloured her flower yellow. Even Boris joined in and made his flower red. The more it snowed outside, the more flowers they coloured inside. When they were finished, they hung all of the drawings on the walls of the igloo. "Now we have a flower garden," said Umik. "The first flower garden on the North Pole," cheered Miffy. When it was time to say goodbye, Miffy and Umik rubbed noses and laughed. Even Snuffy and Husky said goodbye to each other. "Thank you for your flowers, Miffy. I made you a present as a souvenir. Something to remember me by. A drawing of the igloo, the sledge, and the whale." "Thank you, Umik. I'll put it on the wall above my bed so I will always remember I have a friend at the North Pole." Soon they were on their way back home, and Miffy knew She'd never forget her time at the North Pole. Miffy visits Europe. Goodbye! Goodbye! Goede reis, said the conductor on the platform. Miffy, Melanie and Grunty rode a train through different countries in Europe. On the train trip, they heard different languages being spoken. Guten Morgen, tickets please. Miffy handed her ticket to the conductor and said, "We're going to visit a castle." "A big castle," said Melanie, and on her turn she showed her ticket. "An old castle," added Grunty. "Even older than Mother and Father Bunny," said Miffy. Father Bunny smiled. "Yes, even older than us together." Another conductor came by. "Bonjour," he said. "Good morning," Miffy answered, and Melanie tried in French. "Bonjour," and so did Grunty. "Bonjour." "Enjoy your journey," said the conductor. Mother Bunny explained that different languages have different ways of saying the same thing. Guten Morgen means good morning in German. "And bonjour is how you say it in French," said Miffy. "And the Italians say buongiorno," said Melanie. "And I say we're here," said Father Bunny. They crowded the window and saw a beautiful old castle in the distance. "We're here!" cried Miffy. Miffy, Melanie and Grunty couldn't wait to get to the castle. "Look at the bridge," said Grunty. "It's a drawbridge," explained Miffy. "You can close it from inside if you don't want to let somebody in." They walked over the bridge and stood in front of the castle and looked up to the top of the castle doors. Gasped Miffy. "These doors are the biggest I've ever seen." "But how do we get in?" asked Melanie. Grunty saw a big door knocker. "I can knock on the door," she cried. "You're too little to reach, Grunty," said Melanie. "But I can reach it," said Miffy, as she stretched on her tippy toes. "Look," Miffy whispered. "The doors! They're opening!" "Let's go in," said Father Bunny. They hurried inside the big castle doors. In the castle, there was a guard waiting for them. "Hear ye! Hear ye! Welcome to the castle. For the young visitors, I have a special present." The guard held out 3 gold crowns. "Thank you," said Miffy. "I am the king." "Then I will be your queen," said Melanie. Grunty's crown was a little too big for her head and kept slipping off. "I want to be a king or queen too," she said. "Just one king lives in the castle, Grunty. And I'm the queen." "Then what am I?" asked Grunty. Miffy and Melanie couldn't think of anything for Grunty to be. "You can be our child, the princess," said Melanie. Grunty didn't like that idea at all. Miffy and Melanie had seen a well in the castle's courtyard. Miffy called down into the well. "Hello! Hello! Hello! It's talking to us!" "You're hearing your echo," Mother Bunny explained. It was Melanie's turn next. "Bonjour! Bonjour! Bonjour!" Grunty wasn't quite as tall as Miffy and Melanie, and she had a hard time reaching the ledge of the well. Buongiorno! 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 They all laughed. In the castle, they were standing in the middle of a huge room. They were impressed by the beauty of the things they saw. "Is everything made of gold?" whispered Miffy. "All those kings and queens must have been very rich," said Melanie. Mother Bunny showed them 2 thrones. "How old are they?" asked Miffy. "Hundreds of years old, as long as the castle has been here." "This must have been the king's throne," said Miffy. "And this was the queen's throne," added Melanie. Grunty looked around the room. "And the princess? Didn't she have her own throne?" Grunty was not happy to see that there were only 2 thrones. Miffy looked at the many colourful flags on the wall. Each king and queen had their own flag. "I think we take that one as ours." "Look, Miffy, stairs," said Melanie. "That's the way up to the castle tower," said a guard. "May we go to the tower, Mother Bunny?" "Yes, go ahead, but I want the 3 of you to stick together." Miffy, Melanie and Grunty started up the big staircase. Grunty couldn't go up the stairs quite as fast. And now she lost her crown. It rolled all the way down. "Wait for me!" she cried. But Miffy and Melanie were too excited and forgot all about Mother Bunny's warning. Soon Grunty was all alone on the stairs. Suddenly, she noticed something or somebody standing in front of her. "Hello, buongiorno, who are you?" she asked. She walked towards it to get a closer look. It was a suit of armour. "Miffy can be the king, Melanie can be the queen, but I can be a knight in shining armour," said Grunty. "Guten Morgen! Bonjour! Buongiorno!" Mother and Father Bunny looked up. "Welcome to our kingdom!" Mother Bunny waved and called up, "Where's Grunty?" "Oh! I thought she was right behind us. Let's go and find her." Mother and Father Bunny also started to look when Father Bunny spotted Grunty's damaged crown. "Oh dear," he said. They couldn't find Grunty. "She wasn't up there. We didn't see her down there either, but we found her crown." Then they heard a voice. "Guten Morgen." Where did the voice come from? "Bonjour." They turned to look at the suit of armour. "Buongiorno." "Grunty?" asked Miffy. "I'm not Grunty. I'm a knight in shining armour." Grunty jumped out to surprise them. Everyone laughed. "Hooray! Your crown is a little damaged, Grunty, but this feather will turn it into a real helmet for a brave knight. There." "Hooray for the knight!" The knight, the queen and the king went back down the castle steps, through the main room, past the well and out of the big castle doors. And soon they were on the train going home. It had been a wonderful day. Miffy visits the Far East. Miffy and Melanie were on an aeroplane travelling to the Far East. It was a long flight and they were far away from home. Miffy was too excited to eat, and she saved her knife and fork as a souvenir of the journey. "Something to remember our trip by," said Miffy, as she put them in her backpack. To pass the time on the plane, they tried their hand at making origami. Origami is paper folded into different shapes. Melanie was making a flower, and Miffy had made a star. The plane was getting ready to land. They were almost there. "Welcome to the Far East," said a friendly flight attendant as Miffy and Melanie got off the aeroplane. The pilot was Uncle Flyer. He had been to the Far East many times and assured them that learning about another culture would be an adventure. Miffy and Melanie walked with Uncle Flyer through a beautiful park. They had never seen so many blossoms before. Miffy wanted to know what kind of trees they were. She said, "If sweets grew on trees, then this is what it would look like." Melanie laughed. "They're cherry trees," said Uncle. Something else caught their eye, and they walked in the direction of a big fountain in the park. Miffy and Melanie didn't like what they saw. "It's a dragon," said Miffy, "and he has scary eyes." Melanie didn't like the expression on his face. "He looks mean." Then someone jumped out from behind the statue. "Rah!" "Hello, my name is Taka," he said, and then he bowed. The bowing made them giggle. Taka bowed again. "I'm glad to meet you." This time Uncle Flyer bowed too and said, "At home we wave or shake hands, but here when you meet someone it's polite to bow." So then Miffy and Melanie both gave a little bow. Taka's parents owned a restaurant nearby. Maybe they would like to eat something. Miffy was hungry now. They followed Taka through the park and into a restaurant with coloured lights. Miffy and Melanie were served things they'd never tasted before. They had rice and seaweed and a special hot tea. It was all very new and different for them. But for Taka and his family, it was a typical meal. It wasn't just the food that was different. They didn't eat with knives and forks. They used chopsticks. Miffy had never seen chopsticks before. She tried her best, but the food kept falling off. So Miffy watched Taka, and with a little practice, she got better and better. "Chopsticks are fun," Melanie agreed, even when she kept dropping seaweed from hers. Everyone had a good laugh. Miffy had an idea. "Look, Taka. We use a knife and fork to eat our food back home." And now it was Taka who had a hard time, trying to eat with knife and fork in one hand. This made everyone laugh again. "Everybody understands laughter," said Uncle Flyer, "no matter what country you're in." After lunch, they went back to the park. While Uncle Flyer strolled under the cherry blossoms, Taka told Miffy and Melanie that he had a surprise. "Cover your eyes." Miffy tried to sneak a peek. "Don't peek." Melanie wanted Taka to give them a hint. "It's something that can go very high in the sky," he said. "A bouncing ball," guessed Melanie. Taka laughed and told them they could look now. It wasn't a bouncing ball. "How do you like my kite?" asked Taka. But Miffy didn't like his kite at all. It had the face of a dragon. "What a scary dragon," said Melanie. Taka was surprised. He explained that dragons aren't scary, they bring good luck. Miffy had never heard of dragons that bring good luck. Uncle Flyer reminded them that things have different meanings in different places. "But how does a dragon mean good luck?" asked Miffy. He told them to think about all the wonderful and fun things that had happened since they arrived. Miffy and Melanie thought hard. They remembered the good food they'd had for lunch. "Now I'm not hungry anymore," said Miffy. "And learning to eat with chopsticks." "That was fun," laughed Melanie. And they had made a new friend, Taka. "Yes, let's fly the dragon kite," said Miffy. The dragon kite went high, 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 up into the sky. It flew above everyone in the park. It flew above the cherry trees covered with blossoms. "Taka, can you show me how to fly the kite?" asked Miffy. The dragon swooped down from the sky and fluttered in the wind right in front of everyone. "Hello," Miffy said to the dragon. Now she wasn't scared anymore. The dragon seemed to do a little bow. Miffy bowed back to the dragon, because that's what you do when you want to say hello to a friend. And then the dragon flew back up in the sky. Taka handed the kite string to Miffy. Miffy loved flying the kite. "Thank you," she said, returning the kite to Taka. "Dragons bring good luck, and meeting you was the best luck of all." In the plane home, Miffy and Melanie folded paper into small dragons. These will bring us good luck back home too.